looking at what really makes you happy. And sometimes they're like, I don't know. So we step back and say, well, what doesn't make you happy? What is it that you don't want in your life anymore? What is it that you don't want to see? Because that's very easy to point out. I don't want that. That makes me angry. That makes me frustrated. So start listing those out, because the opposite, usually the polar opposite, will be what it is that you want. And you'll start to discover what it is that how you are going to show up and what it's going to look like.
Hello, Profit First entrepreneurs. I am so excited. Today we have a special guest, and that is Maureen Siddiqui. Maureen is a certified high performance coach. She is also a certified John Maxwell T speaker, trainer, and coach, and a corporate business consultant with more than 15 years of experience in corporate America, as well as working with other Fortune 500 companies. She's the co-founder of the nonprofit organization SEMA, and she is really consistent with her success when it comes to exceptional communication and purposeful leadership. What Maureen does is she coaches corporate leaders, businesses, and she is of real service to them in order to support them in reaching their personal and professional goals. She believes that her life's mission is to serve clients who strive to have fulfilling lives while driving to achieve their optimum selves as thriving high performers. And by doing this, she not only changes the lives of her clients, but also changes the lives that they are touching every day. Maureen, welcome to the Profit Talk.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So, Maureen, tell me a little bit about, this high performance coaching and what you do and how that impacts entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So our clients, when they come to us, at Goal Set Coach, they work with Alexis and I. And usually when they're coming to us with, they're wanting to get to that next level. They want to be more innovative with the way they're leading, or they're feeling just overwhelmed and burnt out. And they're like, I just don't know how not to turn it off. I'm always on 24/7. So it's a multitude of where they are, because they're overachievers, they're driven, they want to get to that next level. So what we do is we help them with the high performance coaching, how they can optimize themselves so that they can effectively work on the stuff that they want to be working on the strategies, the vision, and how to make that work and maintain the energy throughout. So, there's a little bit of a dance. We call it work balance, and there's a work life balance. So it's how do you create that happy medium where your energy stays at that optimal level consistently. So, you'll work, and all of a sudden you drop off. You're down for 2 days. I can't talk to anybody, look at anybody. How do you stay ahead of that? Because when you're getting to that, 6, 7 figures, you have to be on all the time. And how do you create that lifestyle that you want that works with ease and grace?
I love that. That is really neat. That's a very good, interesting analogy about, just having to maintain a certain energy level versus, that normal highs and lows that a lot of people experience. So tell me about that. What's the first thing that goes into really being able to maintain high performance energy?
I mean, the first thing is, having that clarity of who it is. Because when you start and you get to that multiple 6 figure place, who you were being at that time may not be what's going to work to get you to the next level. There's going to be new things that you'll have to deal with, your mindset that's going to come in, new limiting beliefs, new problems, right? So all of those things. So we get really centered again that now that you're here and this is who you're being to get here. Now, what is it going to take to get you to the next level? So once you get really, really clear on that, then you're able to start stepping into that CEO lifestyle. Because then we go through the next process of, all right, now we know that. Now, what's the energy? How is it that you're going to show up? So we go through a series of exercises that builds up to that blueprint or that roadmap that they need to get to that level.
That's interesting because, Maureen, I would bet that most entrepreneurs don't realize that, what's holding them back, right? Because first of all, only 4% of entrepreneurs ever make it to the seven-figure mark. It's very few. And so how do you recognize that you're at that level, that it's really an energy problem versus, just why not keep things going the same?
Well, it's exactly what you said, right? So there's only 4% that make it to that level. And there's a reason for that, because There's something you have to push through to get there. And you may not always know what that is. That's where we come in. And we will go through, we look at what has been working and what's no longer working for you. One of the exercise the audience could even come into is talking about even just happiness. What makes you happy? Because it's people are like, oh, I'm happy, but what is it about your life that makes you happy? A lot of times we're trying to strategically get somewhere. When we're visionaries and we're strategic, we're strategically getting there. We are not clear what that there is exactly. So it's stepping back, looking at what really makes you happy. And sometimes they're like, I don't know. So we step back and say, well, what doesn't make you happy? What is it that you don't want in your life anymore? What is it that you don't want to see? Because that's very easy to point out. I don't want that. That makes me angry. That makes me frustrated. So start listing those out, because the opposite, usually the polar opposite, will be what it is that you want. And you'll start to discover what it is that how you are going to show up and what it's going to look like. So that's usually the first step that we go through so that people get really, really clear. And there's a more series that we go into. It goes really deep, but that's one of the first levels that we talk about.
I love that. That is very interesting. First of all, defining, if you can't define what is actually missing, figure out, first of all, what you don't want. I love that's a very interesting approach. And that way you can start working on the things that you don't want, doing the opposite of that in order to get what you do want. That is very, very good. So Maureen, do you have some tips in terms of maintaining energy level and creating high performance as a leader?
Yeah, so one of the tips we tell our people is being very intentional with your day, right? And it's the same stuff you hear from everyone. Planning out your day in the morning, getting that morning routine that's just right for you. For everyone, it looks different. Some are early risers, some are late risers. Some, have a coffee, some of them don't have a coffee. So you have to find the routine that works for you, that sets you up for success. That is the first step that you want to make sure that you're incorporating. The other thing is always recalibrating your week, what it's going to look like, because sometimes it's so easy for us to fill gaps in our calendar. It happens to me. I am a victim of that as well and fall into that trap. But it's putting in time and space for yourself, and something that we preach and we practice as well is putting a space in and hold integrity to yourself, that you're holding it for that, and actually use that time to just be with yourself, whether it's self-care, whatever it is. So the third tip on that would be write down the things that you need to do and discover what those are, right? Write them down, the things that you need to do for your self-care. Because when those times come, sometimes you're like, well, I really don't know what I'm supposed to do. So then you have that list on your fridge or on your monitor, whatever it is, and you pick something from there and do that, right? Because when people are so busy, I mean, they sit like me, I don't watch TV, so I don't even know what show I'd want to watch. So make a list, ask people what are some good shows, so that when you do have the time, you already have that list and you're not wasting time, what we call wasting time, trying to find the show. And it could be even as simple as taking a walk or reading a book. Self-care could be even just calling a friend. Those are the different things. It doesn't have to be mani-pedi. It can be. For me, sometimes it is a mani-pedi, every 6 weeks or so, every 4 weeks. But for some, that may not be what's self-care for them. Maybe just a simple bubble bath, and maybe just sitting with the kids and playing with them. So whatever fills your bucket, make sure that you've got the list of that and you incorporate it intentionally within your calendar every week and really stand by it. Very important.
I love that. That's really important. It starts with time management and really getting back to what's important to you. And I like that too, the idea of just creating lists, right?
Mhm.
Of you want to watch TV one week, you don't know what to watch, you're creating that's I never heard that. Create a list for it. And
Mhm.
that way you'll have things that you can actually watch when you're ready to do that. Because you're right, to reach that 7-figure mark, it does take a different level of energy to really get that. And You have to be able to lead teams, become a brand, and literally, it's not going to be the same thing that it took to get to that 6 figures. It's going to take you to the 7 figure. It's a completely different skill set at that point, and that energy management does become extremely important for that. And so, Maureen, in terms of profitability, because we are a profit first show and it's all about the profits, why is really cultivating that high performance culture as a leader important? How does that impact our profitability at the end of the day?
So I would say, look at it this way. In order for more profit to come in, or okay, let me give you an analogy. We've talked about cleaning house, right? Cleaning house. So you can't just go shopping for more clothes and more shoes and all this stuff if you don't have space for it. You can't get more stuff in there if you don't have the space for it. So what is it that we do? We do spring cleaning. So spring cleaning in our closet, clean the stuff out, and now we've got space to bring in the new and the good and the better things that we want. So think about it that way for your life and for your mindset. You want to do a recalibration and look at, what is it that I don't need anymore? What is not serving me anymore? And it's not only for yourself, but even in your business, there's some things that you may need to let go. Have a consultant come in, have a team come in, because sometimes we're so into it and we're so passionate about something that we don't even realize it. So when you have somebody outside looking at your KPIs or your analytics about how things are working, you can see what the patterns are and what you need to cut out and focus on. It's the same thing, cleaning house with, what you have, programs you have that you may not need to be spending your time on anymore. And that way you can increase your profit, right? So it's very, very important that you spend time and make it like clockwork. Maybe it's quarterly or maybe it's twice a year, that you bring somebody from the outside in and do the analytics, and also for your mindset. You want to make sure you're in a community or have a coach or a mentor that can guide you through what's the next step that you need to do, what you need to stop doing and start doing.
I love that second set of eyes, right? Whether it be numbers or just even your energy. Because I know, one of the hard things I think for a lot of entrepreneurs to struggle with, I know that I've struggled with that too, is, the good that you ought to do, and what's holding you back a lot of times. And it's just having that courage to change and let go, like you said, the things that no longer serve you. Do you have any tips on how to make that pivot when, that I know it's an emotional thing, of letting go of things that once really, really served you that no longer serve you?
Yeah. Well, it's just like we talk about the 7 stages of grief. When change happens, when people leave our company or we stop doing something, allow your emotions to feel through it and be very grateful for what it has served thus far. And be grateful that it got you to where you are now. When you start looking at it that way, that it served what it needed to do to get you to this level, and now you're ready to say thank you for the stepping stool, and now I'm ready to go to the next level, then you're more grateful, more thankful, rather than looking at it as that you're parting with it. You'll always know that that's at your base, and do whatever you need to take. Like, I don't know particularly what it could be, but it could be, something that you framed, I don't know, maybe it's what it looks like a number wise, like here's where we were and here you framed, so you can always remember where you came from. And it could be, I don't know, it depends on your business, but think about what you can do to remind yourself to get grounded that where you came from. And that's really important to do in no matter any aspect in our life, right? Is to be grateful for what we've gone through and thank you for serving me. And now I'm moving here.
I love that. Just being grateful for where you came from, but realizing that, hey, it's time to let it go and be open to new possibilities and new things that'll serve you, and allowing that old thing to be of service to someone else potentially too, right?
Yeah.
I love that. That's absolutely really great. And so, Maureen, with that being said, if you could leave our viewers and our listeners with one thing, and it can be personal, it can be business related, what would that one thing be in terms of advice to really propel their business or their life forward?
The one thing is honor the struggle, because the struggle is so real, and know that when you are struggling that you're not alone, and make sure that you've got a community around you to support you during that time, and know that whatever you're struggling, you're in that growth that in between, that comfort and that growth area. And there's going to be a lot of feelings, a lot of things that are going to happen, a lot of things that are going to fall apart, a lot of things that be good for you, maybe bad for you, but always look at things as a learning opportunity and just honor it. I mean, we as entrepreneurs, we all go through, it doesn't just happen overnight. So if anything, the ones who've made it, they really honor their struggle. They really talk about where they came from. So honor that, because you're getting there. And this is just part of what you need to go through to get there. Don't give
I,
up.
I love it. That it's amazing. And so definitely appreciate the struggle, right? It's a story that really builds who you are. So I love that, Maureen. Excellent advice. So, Maureen, how do we contact you? How do we contact you to work with you, to learn more, to build high energy within our leadership?
Yeah, so Alexis and I are all over the internet. So we're on all social media platforms from Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can find us under Goal Set Coach. That's GOAL Set Coach. And you can also go to our website, goalsetcoach.com. And we have an upcoming workshop that's coming up for entrepreneurs who are wanting to scale to the seven figure from 6 to 7. And so that's also free, and you can join in, be a part of it. We really serve women entrepreneurs. So we've even got a Facebook group for women who lead. And it's really a phenomenal, close-knit, exclusive group that we really hug and nurture to make sure that they're at their optimal level. It's a lonely place to be when you're a leader or a CEO. So we want to make sure that they know that we've got them.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you for joining us today and just sharing your knowledge and your wisdom with our viewers and our listeners today.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me.